Hello and welcome to the draw for the 2022 Betfred World Matchplay Darts, the biggest ranking event in the sport outside of the World Championship itself. I'm Dan Dawson. I'm joined by former Players Champion Paul Nicholson. Paul, quick word on the match play before we get down to business. Iconic event, enormously prestigious, and one that every player wants to say they've played at some point in their careers.
Everybody wants to play in it. Everybody wants to win there. Nothing is guaranteed, but this is an amazing tournament with huge history. 28 years since its debut in 1994, won by Larry Butler, and everybody wants to get their fingerprints on that Phil Taylor trophy. Yeah,
it is the Phil Taylor trophy they're playing for, as well as an £800,000 prize pot with 200 grand to the winners. This is how the draw is going to work. We've got 32 players who've been battling it out over the last 2 years, some of them in the case of the last few months, just to get to Blackpool Winter Gardens. 16 seeded players who are the top 16 in the world. They are numbered with these balls here, 1 to 16. I will ask you to put the seeded players into that pot there, Paul Nicholson. And that's on the 2-year order of merit that takes in all the ranking tournaments in the sport of darts. They are fixed in the bracket, but we are still going to draw them out individually from those balls, and they will be paired up with the Pro Tour qualifiers. Now, they've been fighting out over the last 12 months in events like the European Tour event and the Players' Championship ones, which take place here, for example, in Barnsley Metrodome, where we are doing the draw. We've definitely got all those in there. I'll ask you to put the Pro Tour qualifiers into that one for me. We have 4 debutants as well this year. Among the Pro Tour qualifiers, Martin Schindler of Germany, Martin Lukman. We've got Madars Razma from Latvia, the first Latvian player ever to play at the World Matchplay, as well as Roby John Rodriguez, who is stormed into the places just in the last week and a half, really. Right, we'll get on with the draw then, shall we? I will ask you to pluck the first seeded player from our pot of seeds, if that's all right.
With pleasure.
Defending champion Peter Wright, the number 1, of course, the world number 1. But it is...
Number 15.
Number 15, that is Dave Chizzy Chisnell, a man who's made the quarterfinals of this tournament numerous times, 5 times, in fact, a multiple major finalist. And he will take on, in the first round,
number 28.
Number 28 is Kim Huybrechts, the Belgian number 2. You might have seen him at the recent World Cup of Darts. He's making his return to Blackpool Winter Gardens after a 4-year absence. Next one, please.
Kim's got to play a local boy.
Always fun at the Winter Gardens.
Number 3.
Number 3 is Michael Smith, moved up into the number 3 position in the world rankings. Of course, the World Championship finalist and a former finalist at the World Matchplay as well. He will play.
26.
Number 26 is a former man making his return to the match play after a 6-year absence. It is Goldfinger Andrew Gilding. That is a tough tie, let me assure you. Right, next one.
And nobody wanted to play Andrew.
Throwing some enormous averages in Barnsley here this weekend, made a final as well.
Number 8.
Number 8 is Johnny Clayton, the Ferret, a finalist here in Barnsley today on the Pro Tour. He's the reigning Grand Prix champion and World Series champion, of course. Number 32 is Roby John Rodriguez, the Austrian number 2, making his debut at the tournament. He's only done it really by virtue of making a Euro Tour final last Sunday and then backing that up with some results here in Barnsley this weekend.
Number 13.
Number 13 is Joe Cullen, a man who came within a dart of winning the Premier League. He is the Masters champion as well. Number 17 is the top-rated player in the Pro Tour qualifiers, the Australian number 1 and World Cup winner, Damon Heta. That is an absolutely brutal first round draw for Joe Cullen.
Number 10.
Number 10 is Rob Cross, former match play champion, of course, the reigning European champion. Number 30 is Chris Dobey, returning to the Winter Gardens. It is only his 3rd appearance there, not one on that stage as yet, Chris Dobey.
I know that feeling.
Number 11 is Danny Noppert, the reigning UK Open champion, another guy who picked up a title here in Barnsley this weekend.
21.
21 is Brendan Dolan, the man who won here today in Barnsley, his 9th PDC title, a former major finalist at the World Grand Prix.
Number 5.
Number 5 is James Wade, the 2007 Matchplay champion, a man who's made 5 finals at the World Matchplay.
29.
It is one of our debutants. It is Smash Martin Lukeman, the 37-year-old from Watford. A big name play. He's always going to get a big name of some sort. It's the World Matchplay, but a cracker for Martin Lukeman.
Number 6.
Number 6 is Gary Anderson, former champion, of course. Won that incredible final against Mensur Suljovic that went all the way into extra legs.
22.
Daryl Gurney. That is an intriguing one. Gary Anderson versus Daryl Gurney, the 2-time major champion Northern Irishman. Gary Anderson not in what you call brilliant form, an interesting tie. Right, let's crack on.
14.
Number 14 is Dirk van Duijvenbode, a man in form, the Netherlands number 3, the aubergine farmer, who did pick up a title here on Friday.
19.
It is Ryan Searle. It is another blockbuster of a tie. Heavy metal Ryan Searle, who's thrown some enormous averages on the Pro Tour, won a title this year as well, goes up against Dirk van Duijvenbode.
7.
Number 7 is the Portuguese man of scores, the Portuguese number 1, José de Sousa, the former Grand Slam champion.
24.
Number 24 is the German number 1, Gabriel Clemens, who made yet another Pro Tour final here in Barnsley this weekend. He's yet to pick up that elusive first PDC title, though.
Number 12.
Number 12 is Luke Humphreys, very much a man of the moment. 5 titles this year, 4 of them on the European Tour.
18.
Nathan Aspinall. Wow. Good work, Paul Nicholson. Nathan Aspinall, of course, the former UK Open champion, another man who's in great form.
Wow, what a game.
Big hitters are still in here.
Number 4.
Number 4 is the favourite, Michael van Gerwen, the 2-time champion. Hasn't been in action here in Barnsley this weekend.
25.
25 is Jackpot Adrian Lewis. It is a clash of
Wow.
multiple world champions. Adrian, obviously a finalist in the World Matchplay, lost that incredible final with Phil Taylor back in 2013. Michael van Gerwen versus Adrian Jackpot Lewis.
Wow. 16.
Number 16 is Krzysztof Ratajski, the last man who just squeezed into the seeded positions for this one, the Polish Eagle.
27.
27 is the Bullet Stephen Bunting, man who's made the semi-finals of the World Championship, won a number of PDC titles, former Lakeside champion of the world.
Number 9.
Number 9 is Dimitri Vandenberg, won a couple of titles on the World Series, of course. He is a former match play champion and tried to defend that title last year, went all the way to the final, only losing out to Peter Wright.
23.
23 is Callan Ridds, who went all the way to the quarterfinals last year. He backed that up with a quarterfinal run at the World Championship. That is going to be a very, very high quality game if they both get going.
We know exactly who's left.
We do. Just 2 left. Top 2 in the world.
Number 2.
Number 2 is Gerwyn Price, man who lost out to Dimitri Vandenberg in the semi-finals last year. He is the Grand Slam champion and former champion of the world.
20.
It will be the wall Martin Schindler, the German number 2, who has made a huge leap forward in his career over recent months. Again, searching for a first PDC title, but he's getting closer and closer.
Last but not least, number 1.
It is the defending champion, the world number 1, the world champion, Peter Snakebite Wright. Last one out of the seeds. And he will face
31.
31, it is Madars Razma, the first Latvian player ever to qualify for the Betfred World Matchplay. That completes the draw. We'll give our guys a moment to sort out the draw bracket so you can see how they all fit in. What are the ones that stand out? I think Luke Humphries, Nathan Aspinall looks like the box office game, doesn't it?
I mean, we watch a lot of darts, Dan, and we get to watch them all for free pretty much because this is what we do, but that is a game that I would genuinely walk to the ticket office and say, I want to watch this. That has got to headline one of the nights. But you look at Michael Van Gerwen versus Adrian Lewis, wow.
Yeah, Adrian Lewis getting back into some title-winning form. Picked up his first title for 3 years here at Barnsley Metrodome just yesterday. Won the title, walked out, didn't play today. That's him. That's his preparation done for the World Matchplay. He will need it as he goes up against MVG, who's been taking a little bit of time off. Now, Michael Van Gerwen is the tournament favourite. But does this look like the most open this tournament has ever been? Because we've got players like Damon Heta, for example, who, while they're in the Pro Tour qualifiers, look like they could genuinely go and win the title.
In previous years, we've had Michael dominating coming into this. We've had people like Johnny Clayton dominating coming into this. Phil Taylor in most of the seasons in the last 28 years. But now we're looking at a season where Humphries has got 5 titles, Michael's got just about the same amount as that. And you look at people coming into form at the right time, people trying to time it. And you look at that game between Cullen and Heta, for instance. One of those isn't even going to make round 2. That tells a story.
Yeah, Dirk van Dijvenbode versus Ryan Searle might be a very watchable game as well. Ryan Searle, one of those guys who, he did make a major final at the back end of last year at the Players' Championship finals, but his best stuff comes in places like this, like Barnsley Metrodome. If he can transfer that onto the big TV stages, perhaps for the first time that we see him really perform in a big TV tournament, then it could be electrifying, that game.
Absolutely right. I think there's a lot of games here where there's a contrast between experience and being a greenhorn in this tournament, but there are games like this where there's a similar sort of experience level. So I'm intrigued by that one to see who comes through it, because whoever does may have a really good shot at going deep.
Well, look, we've done the draw. Let's show you how the bracket looks, because this will be the really interesting thing. You can see at the very top there, Peter Wright, the defending champion, gets his defence underway against Madars Razma, one of our debutants, the Latvian. Krzysztof Ratajski, semi-finalist last year, faces the Bullet Stephen Bunting. Johnny Clayton up against Roby John Rodriguez, the Austrian, who has muscled his way in over the last week and a half. Dimitri Vandenberg versus Callan Rids. Michael Van Gerwen versus Adrian Lewis. I mean, it's 2 enormous names colliding in the very first round of this tournament. Joe Cullen and Damon Heta in the same little section of the draw. It looks absolutely horrendous for those guys. Then James Wade versus Martin Lukeman, another of our debutants, and Luke Humphries against Nathan Aspinall. Then we look at the other half of the draw, and we've got Gerwyn Price versus Martin Schindler. That is not an easy tie for the world number 2. Dave Chisnell against Kim Huybrechts. José de Sousa versus Gabriel Clemens. Possibly an opportunity for Gabriel Clemens. Of all the seeded players, José de Sousa is not in great form coming into this year's tournament. Rob Cross, a champion before the World Matchplay, looking to recapture the title against Chris Dobie starting off. Michael Smith versus Andrew Gilding. Dirk van Dijvenbode versus Ryan Searle, one we've already mentioned. Gary Anderson takes on Daryl Gurney, a 2-time major champion, and Danny Nopper at the bottom of the draw there against Brendan Dolan. That concludes the draw. It all gets going on Saturday, the 16th of July. 9 days of action at the iconic Blackpool Winter Gardens, running until the Sunday 24th. Somebody will claim the Phil Taylor Trophy and the top prize of £200,000. You can watch it on Sky Sports in the UK and across the world on the PDC's broadcast partners.